Hello and welcome to another deck profile. Although this deck profile is from the past, specifically 2018 and 2019. This is the deck that I was playing religiously for every event I went to, and it basically traveled everywhere with me. It was my old dinosaur deck, although it plays exactly 8 dinosaur cards, or 9, whatever, not many. And the idea was just to make a ton of negates. But the reason this deck is special to me is that it basically started mine, Shanksy's, and Tom's friendship, um, like when we were playing. So and how it's probably ended up growing. So I will show you the profile. So I will run it down. So there are plenty of bricks in this. Like as I say, I'm not even saying this is the most consistent deck in the world, but as you can see, there is a ton of dangers, a laws, and a thunder package in here, so it was pretty consistent, and everything was a one-card combo. So the idea, I'll just give a rundown of the deck and then go from there. So you have Oviraptor, which sends this Carbon Eden to summon Flamvogard, which makes exactly a Synchro 5. And then, as I will showcase, the E Justisar then allows you to do a full Guard Dragon combo that searches Cyberstein along the way, which then makes Exterio, and then you can proceed to either like go into Appaloosa, a Thunder Dragon with Exterio, and a couple of negates, or you can go the Christia route and still have plenty of interactions, or occasionally you would just get both, which was pretty awesome. So the first victim of this out of the infant group was Tom, actually, who sadly got to watch me combo for 20 minutes just making a board. He'd set a couple of spells and traps, and as I invested 4 cards into a Sayuja, I hadn't even normaled at this point, he proceeds to activate Solemn Strike. At which point, like, that usually is turn ending, and I commended him for his good strike activation, but instead, it wasn't enough. And anyway, I proceed to kill him. So then, as he walks off, after a very swift 25-minute 2-0, he explains the deck and names it himself, which is where the term yes comes from. It was like, Shanksy was like, what's he playing? Yes! It's just everything. So anyway, at this point, Shanksy then decides to, in future, side about 1,000,000 cards specifically to beat up the bully of the room, me, and proceeds to droll me, kaiju me, just a ton of hateful side cards that didn't work against anybody else, just specifically me because everybody was playing boring control decks.
That's prison rules, baby!
Yep, and God has spoken again. And God is right. So anyway, so that is basically how we met, and we basically like grew even closer during lockdown because he wanted to know how I was building these types of decks, because it wasn't just it was Dragon Link, Dark World, FTK. Like I was mainly just a combo guy, and Sayuja Turbo was another deck that I used to love playing. So like that will probably be another deck that I can put on here. So we'll have to see how this all goes. But this deck at the time was an absolute fortune. The Thunder Engine was like, even though it was a condensed Thunder Engine, you're still looking at 200-300 quid at the time. The Danger package was 500. It took me months, and some of these cards were borrowed at the time because I was very young and still am a baby. So I had to borrow some of these cards, but I appreciated the access to this deck and the fun I got out of it. So, I will show what this deck did. Alright, so as you can see, we've not opened particularly great here. And there might be a few cuts where I can actually just show what it does. Oh wow, we've opened both the bricks, cool. So in this situation, we probably just want to keep the Nessie in hand. We don't care about the Tsuchinoko much. That doesn't really do much here, so we can just do this. So we can grab Oviraptor. Oviraptor would usually send Carbon Eden, but I'll just run through this replay very quick. We'll do a couple. Send that to the grave. Activate that. Get double evolution pill. Set. Activate this. Activate this. Grab back. Yeah, we'll go Jackalope here. Wow, not very forgiving on the dangers at all. Probably get this back. Right, and probably got 3 darks there. Summon that. All right, so probably go blocker here. Start filling out the hand a little bit. See if we can get into a Sayuja and fix this hand. Yeah, we have a Sayuja, but it's all or nothing here. That's a sad thing. Probably use up an overtext first. Actually, this should be probably a lot better. So rip a card out. So even on a brick here, and I'm telling you, this is a terrible brick. But we've ripped a card out of a hand, got a spell and trap negate which flows into another pill to get UCT, and we have a 3-mat Appaloosa. So even a brick got us a spell and trap negate and 3 monster negs. Alright, this finally shows us what the deck was doing. So, 1 card combo most of the time. Oviraptor would activate. We'd want to send Carbonedon straight to the grave. No need to chain Dark here. Banish Carbonedon. It summons Flambeau Guard from the hand, and it all starts from that. So you only needed a level 5. If you summon Ebe, Ebe would activate, which to be honest doesn't necessarily have a terribly unfair effect. But it was just all the Guard Dragon shenanigans it just ended up doing. So we revive back Flambeau Guard. Now this is what was crazy about Borg Blocker, is that you could just pay cost and trigger one of the dangers or load up your grade full of thunders as you wanted to. So you could even chain block the Eve if you wanted to, although I'm bad at the minute, so I didn't do that exact thing. So you summon the Guard Dragon here, trigger Danger Nessie so you get an extra search. We're probably only going to want to keep Tsuchinoko for the bodies, and we're not going to get into our 4 material Sayuja straight off the bat, because if we open Tsuchinoko or Jackalope, you can get the extra body before you lock yourself into dragons. So what you do here is you summon LP. This is exactly why the Guard Dragons are just too unfair right now. You get to move it into position, so then it points to something, and then LP summons Brotor. Honestly, Brotor was a big problem because, like, my issue was, because I wanted to search Cyberstein. I saw someone use Cyberstein to make Exterio, and I was so obsessed. It was like, if they've made a generic Link 2 that points down, I can then do the whole Guard Dragon shenanigans under something that isn't Triple Burst Dragon or Beat Cop, and then search Cyberstein. And luckily, they had just released the generic Dark Machine Link 2 that points down in Rising Rampage, which, to be honest, was the biggest mistake Konami had done, in my opinion. Because it just made everything so much easier for what I wanted to do. So you would do this first, so you'd get your Cyberstein out. Not many people were maining Nibiru at all. Like, there were times I could just make Appaloosa first and then do Sayuja stuff underneath Appaloosa. So from here, you would banish the World Legacy Guard Dragon to reborn the Flambeau Guard, which then gave you a Pisty play. So you could summon the Pisty here, activate the Pisty, reborn this from the banish so you could reuse it next turn, and you'd have 4 loose materials right here, and we've not even used Gold Sack. So 1, 2, 3, 4 Sayuja. So at the minute, our opponent can't activate spells and traps, which is just one of the goals I wanted. This is too many dinosaur cards. Oh, actually, yeah, it's too many. We can thin later, though. 1, 2, and 3. Might as well thin the deck out as much as possible. Get access to our Thunder Engine, so we can banish Raw. It was all about drawing deep. Like, this deck most of the time could effortlessly go into 3 Sayujas. It was dependent on quite a few things, but it never was a concern. So especially here now, like I could do this, activate this. So you can go the safe option and make a 4 material Appaloosa, or you can dig deep for Christia. But since we have like too much of our deck, like we'll just go straight into. Oh, I guess I ignored my own advice. Go straight into Appaloosa. So what I should have done there was go straight into Appaloosa for 4, and then you searched Hawk off of Dark and got everything I wanted. But you get the gist. That would have been Colossus, 4 material Appaloosa, and Exterio. I need to listen to myself as like, oh wow. Alright. Let's get rid of some of the... Oh, that is a bad time. That is a bad time. 3 Jackalope in one hand. Oh, this is a bit better. Do another rundown. See what kind of board we can make. The best thing about this was how easily you could side deck your matchups. So like, I know this is combo heavy. The idea was to just practically just FTK your opponent. But at the time they banned Argapane, so like there is an Argapane version of this that worked. But I'm featuring the one that I took to the London YCS. So like you could do a full FTK, which I was playing that version for a while with Cannon Soldier. But anyway, what you could do is that you could change the bricks in the main deck and streamline it for hand traps, evenly matched, cosmic cyclones, like twin twisters, because obviously Duster didn't exist at the time. So like, I did not just activate that, did I? I did just activate that. Funny. All right. Oh no, I discarded it. Never mind, that's fine. Need a deck then. Might as well. So yeah, you basically swap out all the Guard Dragon stuff and put in like Imperms, Ashes, evenly matched, and you could just make this into a hard go second, like Thunder Dragon, like Chaos. You know, you could do so much with this. I used to love it. It used to have a terrible Guru matchup, but that's probably because the people I played against who were playing Guru almost gave me an aneurysm every time. Also, it's constant searching, which I do love about this. This is probably an ideal rundown. So we have a few chain links here. What's it asking me to do? Alright. Yeah, I was just playing the deck as normal. Glad I didn't put it in the way. Oh, that would have been a disaster. Forgive me for my slowness on this. It has been a long time since I performed this combo. My muscle memory. The fact that I remember it this well is pretty impressive to myself. Right, more digging. Right, this is exactly what we want. Got UCT here so we can get Overtex as well. Can probably just put that conductor back. Yeah, that'll do. No need to negate our own Exterio. Trigger Raw. In the deck a lot more. Activate. 1, 2. We've already got an Oviraptor engraved, that's fine. Set this, discard this. Get our other Raw. Activate this. Trigger this. So that's now sealed us into one thing here. So probably do this. Get rid of the LP. So what options do we have? We'll probably go smart. Save the UCT so we can just search it next turn and just have enough. So once again, we've just made you can't activate monster effects, you can't activate spells and traps. 2 in hand with a Colossus. So like, whether or not you could search or draw deep into the Christia, like they didn't have a generic fairy that I could do the same. It released a lot later and it was just not as free as the Borg blocker. We'll do one more. Not even seen Christia on these. That's funny. So we'll have a double thin. The way I saw it, if you can get down to like 25 cards before you go into Sayuja, that was pretty insane. Let's banish that, use the raw. Get board full. Trigger that. As I say, after you learn what the steps were, it was easy enough. And obviously, a lot of people knew what the deck was doing, so they'd actually overreacted quite often. And some people were just blind; they didn't even know that this combo existed. But I'll tell you what, the problem initially that I had was there was a free Guard Dragon combo that was going around with Pendulum, and I was a bit stuck with Thunder Dragon Dino at the time. And Hombox ended up releasing like a Dinosaur Thunder Dragon like Guard Dragon mashup with Wither Burster and Clap Serpent. Again, it's another deck that can be shown. But that used to make Heavenly Spheres, Hope Harbinger, Colossus, Overtex, and Hot Red because of the Agapane. So like your boards on that were pretty insane as well. So he practically saved my inspiration for dinosaurs, which I am grateful for. But then, obviously, as the Brotor got released in Dark Neo Storm, that opened up like so many windows for the Guard Dragon combo, and then you can do some crazy stuff. I don't even know what step I was trying to do there. Wait, did I activate Borg Blocker to discard? Oh, I'm a dipstick. I didn't even need to do it there. Anyway. Sayuja number 1 using... Oh, all 4, yeah. So first Sayuja has 4 here, yeah. Always chain block the Sayuja if you could. Oh, and then we draw Christia, finally. So this gives us everything we could want out of all of it. Believe it or not, the Legionnaire is a burden in the hand here. So this is all you could ask for. So you'd summon the Sayuja, Cyberstein, summon Exterio. Use this. Grab. Use Pisty. Revive this, you have a play next turn and get another body. Then you could make another Sayuja. You'd have to with the Christia in this hand. You just put back this, and this. You could ignore everything else. So you would do Pill first. Get rid of something engrave. Make Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, so that stops. So sometimes your opponent can just inherent summon big things. But that won't be an issue with Christia. But again, Imperm was also a card, so like if they could get something big out, then I would just flip it with UCT, and then they couldn't out what was going on. So then make Colossus, and then finally, the last cherry on top, Sayuja to summon Christia on the field. So, like, the boards I could introduce to people were including an Appaloosa here. It was occasional, but, like, it was too often to be unfair. So, like, it was mostly just no monster effects, no spells and traps, no searching, no special summoning. And even if you do try and run into something, like, you're not getting it face up. So, and there'll always be either a Sayuja on field to pop to flip or a card in hand. So, that is the deck that is referred to as a yes. And even when Dark Ruler came out, like, midway through, like I could literally go into Curious Griffin like so effortlessly and just send Imperial Order, set Imperial Order off the Griffin, and get it linked up. So not only is your opponent under like a pseudo skill drain, but you've also got Imperial Order. Your boards didn't look as impressive, but they were just as effective, and they were kind of crazy, and they were also Dark Ruler proof if you had the opportunity. But sometimes I genuinely just loved going second with this deck because of how easy it was. So like the older alternative builds never had these in them. So like, it's pretty rapid. Didn't have Christia. It had the Brotor. Couldn't make Dingesu. I think Sayuja was a one of. So like it was Heavenly. That was in it. Now, I loved Hot Red, but occasionally I'd switch out for Crystal Wing, depending on, like, the what point of the format, because Super Poly had just been released to 3, so I'd make Crystal Wing, so I was pseudo Super Poly proof. I couldn't play that. That wasn't off the list yet. So there'd be, like, a couple of Nightmare cards here. Oh, hang on. I did need this. That was kind of important. And this was also quite important. Play one of those. This gives you access to 4 plays. Gold Sarcophagus was at 3. Gold by the Grey was maxed out. Play these. Black Dragon. Where's it gone? There he is. Armageddon. So this was the like Tombox inspired combo deck. It did actually pretty much just save this list. I did play 2 Pill. Again, like the idea of Pill then was that if you played 3 targets, you would want 2 Pills. If you played 4, 2 wasn't incorrect, but even 3 at the time, like I know it was a bit more bricky, but honestly, just having it live and having an abundance of them was pretty crazy. Not that one, that one, and then final one of would have just been honestly, I don't know, so I will just put Upstart in as a placeholder, and then I can very rapidly just show you what this one was trying to achieve. So like this is another variation, like there were different variations, but this one was the main one that was inspired by Tombox, and then the next one, yes, was where I went from there, because of the release of Board Blocker. It's crazy how a stupid Link 2 just can enable all of this. Although that was so free, we'd have to use that. Well, that was a bit risky. It's alright, because we opened this. So, use that. That gets you Hawk. can use Hawk here. I think we'd be sacrificing quite a bit of this. Yeah, afraid so. We haven't normaled yet, though, which is quite funny. So if we got a loose monster, I'll definitely use it. So banish that, summon that. And this is the old traditional Guard Dragon play. It was so insane, the fact that if you could just have White Dragon and Black Dragon and just get 2 monsters like out, it was crazy. Because you could literally get access to 3 negates for the fun of it. Or 3 interruptions. And you would constantly be searching as well. So here, you'd have a discard. Obviously, you don't want to target Brotor. You target another one just in case you got Ogred. Grab Levy in here. So then you would turn Beat Cop and Brotor into Triple Burst. And then you would turn Pisty and Triple Burst into Argapane. Argapane would then summon Hot Red. In attack, preferably. Special summon this. And I've not even summoned a dinosaur card. This is how insane this all was. And then not only that, your Guard Dragons lined up your Levy in here. So then you can rip a card out. And then normal summon the Raw and summon Colossus. So like I've not even summoned a dinosaur card. I don't even have a dinosaur card in the grave. And that is just from being able to summon 2 monsters and having a White Dragon in hand. Here again, it's a bit more tricky. I'm not even sure you can actually do this. Here. Obviously, you get your abundance here. Yeah, this hand's genuinely just Dolker Overtex. Nothing crazy about that. And that's just exactly the same as the first hand. Are we not even going to get Dinosaur involved here? Last try. Alright, oh, can we get that? Yeah, we can get Dinosaur involved here. This is one of the main combos. So... yeah, so the way we would have to do this is send Overtex. This is what I loved as well, is that if you could open with this combo, you could genuinely bait an Ash out with your pill first. And, like, if you were lucky enough to have a hand like this, you could even get your Dolker along the way and insulate. But because of Master Rule 4, you had to, like, wait until you had, like, an arrow where you can put your Dolker. So it was always awkward, but it was never... Nibiru didn't exist, so you didn't have to worry too much. So if your combo just didn't go through, then you just make Dolker and, you know, be happy. So I always made Overtex first because it floated into Pill. It was a spell and trap negate, and obviously you chain block the other way. You go chaining 1 Dark, chaining 2 Rex. So that was pretty much everything you wanted. It's made it a bit awkward here because now we have to commit other monsters elsewhere. What would be the best way to do it? Can we do it a weird way? We can probably do it a weird way. No, I'm not even going to attempt. Although I have sacrificed my Colossus there. Me being a dipstick, I guess. But it's still a crazy amount of disruption. Pill was just a combo enabler that just gave you so much. Let's make this, search this. LP would get you Brotor. Brotor, target to avoid the Ghost Ogre, discard the card that you can't summon anymore. Appaloosa didn't exist, so it's my bad for that even being in there. I probably just want Rex out of the way at this point. So I would deliberately use Giant Rex. In my opinion, there'd be no point using Pisty because I can just summon this. Argapane would turbo card out from the extra deck, which is too stupid. Summon this. Occasionally I'd see, in not this particular build, but like builds that could make spheres, they were always playing a Morphage Goliath. Because it's a Scythe on legs. So then we have a ripped card. We should have a Colossus here, but my zone positioning was terrible. But, like, you get the gist. This is still unfair. And next turn... So they're starting with 5 in hand, sorry. I have a Spell and Trap Negate, an Omni Negate, a Bounce. And next turn, I'm going to have a Pill in hand, plus my Thunder Dragon combo all over again. Because I can recur back Hawk. And that was the first but alternative list that I initially played. So, this has been my deck history, I guess, part of it. Like, if you want to see more of these, I would love to just go back in time and show you what I was doing at what point. Like, it's a lot of fun. So, I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think. Leave some feedback comments. I love improving this deck even though it doesn't exist anymore. Like, if anybody knew how to streamline this even better than I could, then give your opinions because I'd love them. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell your friends, do the things. And I've been Moz. In a bit.